In this video, we're going to talk a little bit more about the Barry Harris 6th diminished scale in contrary motion. And this comes to us as a request from one of our listeners, Darren Farrell, who says, "Thanks, how do we apply Barry Harris concept on block chords in contrary motion?" Well, it's actually not that difficult. And what I'm going to do in this video is walk you through the 6th diminished scale and then branch out into contrary motion, show you how that works, and then we're going to apply it to a jazz standard, which is really the whole point of this type of arranging technique, not just for piano, but for multi-instrumentalists as well. So if you have a band you need to do arrangements for, this block chord system and the contrary motion that we're going to talk about applies directly to that. But of course, in this video, we're going to talk mostly about it as an arranging technique for the piano. So what I'm going to do is walk you through it. Then I'm going to play a couple of choruses of There Will Never Be Another You to kind of give you a sense of where it fits in as a piano player. And then I'll come back, post a link to the sheet music that you can download and start practicing your 6th diminished scales. Okay, so the first thing to understand about 6th diminished scales is it's not about the 6th being diminished. In other words, a lot of people talk about this. This is the scale of C. And if you add the flat 6, a lot of people think, well, that's the 6th diminished scale. Actually, that's a bebop scale. What does 6th diminished scale mean? It means 6th, meaning major 6th or minor 6th. So the first chord would be, as an arranging technique, a major 6th. So where does the diminished come from? That comes from the dominant chord associated with that chord. So C major 6th, the dominant is G7 with a flat 9. And 3, 5, 7, and 9 is where the diminished chord comes from. So if you're playing a scale, the reason why you add the extra note is because if every other chord is a diminished chord, the A flat is the only note that's added to the scale, like this. C major 6th, D diminished 7th, C major 6th, D diminished 7th, C major 6th, D diminished 7th, C major 6th. And I know that looks like an A minor 7th chord, but if you put the top note at the bottom, it's a C major 6th chord, right? And that's where the diminished scale comes from. It's a major 6th or minor 6th plus a diminished chord, which is every other note. And what the left hand does is it usually copies the right hand. So the top note in the right hand is the A, the left hand would play A. Okay, so the contrary motion, how does that come into play? Well, if you actually take a look at that scale that goes up and down, and of course down, you can actually do this. And it works out evenly. That means that you can play the single notes in the left hand and your diminished scale pattern in the right hand, like this. So the first thing the left hand does is it plays the top note, the same as the right hand, okay? And then you go apart from there. Which is a really interesting arranging technique because now instead of this, you've got this. Which is that sort of contrary motion. A lot of times we get that with classical music as well. So what you're looking for is tunes that you can use that arranging technique with. So the tune that I've picked out that this can work well for is a song called There Will Never Be Another You that goes like this. So essentially what that is a scale. a C major 6 scale. Now, it's better when the notes come in order like this. However, when it's broken up, you have to find other chords that fit there that make sense. So if the first note is G, and we're going to A, this is the C6 chord. Just like that. Now I know that looks like an A minor 7th chord, but it's really C6. And then you go apart from there. So you see the left hand goes down a half step, and the right hand goes up the scale, the 6th diminished scale. Cool, right? And here it jumps up to here. So you can either play a C in the left hand or you can play whatever you want as long as it makes sense. So let's do it one more time. It can literally do what the right hand does there. And here we go again to the A minor 7th chord, but we're going to play C major 6th scale. So this scale here, C major 6th, because the top note is the C natural, and we're still in the key of C, so what I did there was I'm approaching this G minor 7th chord. So what I decided to do was just come up the scale a little bit and play an F sharp 7 chord there. So from the second line, starts on the A minor 7th. You can see that F sharp 7, sharp 9. Now I'm doing a little bit of 6th diminished scale there, where I'm playing a C7 flat 9 chord. So again, if you're in the key of F, C7 is the dominant of F, and therefore the diminished chord would be this. E diminished, or G, or B flat, or C sharp, right? So I'm going F major 7, and then playing that diminished chord. There you go. So now we have a really nice progression for the entire sort of first 4 lines. Let's go from the beginning. So I looked at that D7 going down the scale there. The problem with it is it doesn't include the flat 6th. So if it went like this, there's something we could do there using our 6th diminished scale like this. Things like that, but it's a little out of place. So I'm just playing the melody there. Let's go and take a look at the second half of the tune. So it's repeating. So again, maybe go to the E diminished there. Right, I hope that makes sense. Definitely the idea is to fit in that major sixth diminished scale or minor sixth diminished scale whenever the melody allows you to make those types of arranging choices. All right, let me go to the piano now and play a version of this. Maybe you can get some more ideas from that as well. Okay, thanks so much for listening. I'm going to post a link to the lead sheet for There Will Never Be Another You up here in the corner. Yes, it's in the key of C. I didn't really mention that normally it's in E flat, but C makes it easier to get your head around the block chords in the Barry Harris system, especially when we're talking about contouring motion. So that's why it's in the key of C. Go ahead and download it. I think it's also important to learn some jazz standards in more than one key. All right, thanks so much for your time. If you liked the video, please just give it a thumbs up. That'd be awesome. And if you want to subscribe to the channel, hit the little bell when you do, and we will notify you of all the upcoming videos that we're making. And finally, go visit Jazzmentl.com. There's backing tracks and videos and sheet music, everything there to help you become a better jazz piano player. Again, thanks for your time. I'll see you in the next video.